Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shiva. Today we are going to cover new topic in Azure, that is stateless workflows and stateful workflows. So coming to this session, I'm going to cover stateless workflow. So basically we have two types of workflows in logic apps. I think in the earlier session I have already covered about logic apps, that is logic apps we use to process our applications data and business process. They are serverless. They support workflows which will represent visual representation. They have built-in connectors. They have a lot of inbuilt features which can process bulk large data in real time with lot of efficiency. So in today's session I'm going to cover about stateless workflow and stateful workflow. So in logic apps, basically there are two types of workflows, that is stateless and stateful. Stateless is nothing but storage run history or logs it won't maintain. Whereas stateful is stateful logic app, it can maintain the history and it can maintain the run history. It can store the logs in a storage account. Basically, when we create a logic app, it will ask for a storage account. So that storage account it will make use like SQL, that kind of system source it can use to store the logs and to store the run history. But whereas in case of stateless workflow, it won't even uses any storage account. So coming to another important point, in stateless workflow, the message size is less than 64 kilobytes, and whereas in stateful workflows the message size can be greater than 64 kilobytes. So that's why in real time stateless workflows we use for short-lived purpose and very lightweight process these are, whereas stateful we can use for bulk data processing. So today I'm going to cover about stateless workflow. So let's see. So first of all, I have built a web API, that is order management API, which is talks about the orders. So if you see order model, a customer in a real time can come to this site, can he can have customer ID, can order some products, and he can finally check out those products. At the checkout time, order ID will be created and timestamp and the total amount will be displayed. So once I run this API, I have built using this in .NET Core. Excuse me. So this is a API endpoint using .NET Core. So which talks about customers. These customers, there are basically two customers currently available, Jane Smith and John, and we can even add new customers. And whereas orders also same way, post order and get orders. And get products, we have three types of products, that is laptop, headphones and mouse, and each product has its own price and the stock, how many stock available. Okay, so with this is backend API. So all I want to design a workflow which will which is stateless. So for the time purpose I already created a logic app stateless workflow. So I'm going to cover you the stateless logic app workflow. So for the time being, I have already uh, designed this workflow. So as you see, this is our order management API. So this order management API basically deals with the orders and the customers. So end user can come and select his products, and at the checkout time, it will display list of products and the total amount and the order created timestamp. Okay, this is at a high level. So in the we have designed this stateless logic app. Uh, this basically stateless logic apps are. I just want to show you a example of stateless, and we have another workflow that is stateful. So in this stateless logic app, what we are achieving is in the first step, logic app. As earlier I told you, this logic app can be triggered by either three ways, that is timer trigger, that is regular intervals every day, or some time stamp based we can schedule. Another way is when any message gets stored in a service bus topic or queue, that is another way. Third way is when any file gets uploaded to storage blob. These three ways a trigger will be invoked and the logic app will be triggered. So here I used a HTTP call. Another example, that means when outside user makes a API call, then I am starting my logic app workflow. So here in the first step, what I'm going to give is I will simply give the body, request body. So my intention is end user will have customer ID and products. You will make a selection. As I showed you, this is our .NET application, which is built on .NET Core. He he can choose the products and he can have customer ID. He will basically he will order some products from the this order application. Based on the structure, I have given the request body. So on click of save button, it will automatically generate a URL for us. Okay. And the next step I have designed is scope condition. The scope condition is nothing but it's a logical grouping of multiple actions. We will have multiple actions like compose, place order call, parse JSON for each call. All this send message to service bus. All these things we can group and we can check the status at a high level whether all these actions success or failed. That is the advantage of scope condition instead of checking at each level. Like if I make this, if I am designing this action, instead of checking at this level itself, I am logical grouping multiple actions, right? Final level, I can check the scope status and check whether it is success or failure. Okay. So second step is I designed a scope condition and I have composed a message, that is customer ID and product IDs from the body, from end user. Let's say he has some UI from mobile, he's trying to order some products. I will simply select customer ID and product IDs, and then I will make another API call. This is web app URL, and I will give the outputs of compose step. That is, these are required fields. This step fields I'm going to pass to this API call. Once API call is done, I will get the response. That is nothing but body of this action, and I will say that this response is of type this object. Okay. And the next step I'm going to do is for each, I am going to loop through each product, because order will have multiple products. So I'm going to get the parse JSON body of parse JSON products, this above step products, I will get the products and I will loop through each product, right? And I will get each product details. What is the product ID, name, price, all those things, order ID, and then I will send all these details to service bus. Service bus here is nothing but I will show you. I have created one service bus, that is this thing, service bus namespace. This service bus namespace will have basically queues and topics. Okay, on a high level, what is the purpose of service bus? Service bus works on a principle, that is producer and consumer. That means producer will be either queue or topic, that will be a producer. This data can be consumed by a downstream system, that can be Azure function, right? Azure function or logic app to process those messages. In this case, I have created a queue with name orders queue, right? And to connect to this, I have shared access policy. Here I have connection string. I can make use of this connection string and I can configure this step over here. I will give this queue name because I have given that queue name as order queue. So orders queue I will give here, right? And I will configure that connection string. And the session ID I am giving as a GUID, right? So once I will send to service bus. Once all the steps done, we can get the scope status. I have the condition, that is check the scope status whether it is success. Send the response back to the user. So response I can have status code, that is 200, and the order ID, customer name, products, total amount, and queued amount. Queued count is nothing but how many messages we send to service bus producer, right? In case of scope status is false, failed, we have false block, which will capture the order status and what message currently. We can even add another step to store it in the app insights, that is to monitor the log where exactly failed. In the coming session I'm going to cover. This is about stateless logic app on a high level. Stateless logic apps basically are to these are lightweight because they won't have, they won't contain any storage account, and also stateless logic apps won't even maintain logs or run history. For your understanding, what I did is I went to settings. I have enabled debugging state on so that we can check the run history. That means whether this workflow is successful or not. How to check this workflow success or not? We have a option, run with payload. Okay, so this is one way. Another way is going to postman and giving the URL. We have the, I already told you, on giving the body, logic app will automatically generate a URL for us. So we can make use of this URL, paste it over here, okay, and then pass the customer ID and the product IDs input in the JSON format. So this is, for example, this is the customer I'm going to give, and this customer has chosen these products 1 and 3, and I will try and hit the URL. Let's see the, see, it got successful, and we even got the status, order ID, queued count, and customer name, and total amount, and products. We can even check the same thing in logic app. So if we have to go to run history section, we can check the run history. Yes, it got successful. Within this time, this logic app got executed. All right. So this is about stateless logic app. In the upcoming session, I'm going to cover about stateful logic app.
And more important, in the next upcoming sessions I will show you live uh, designing of designing of this logic app workflow with each action steps. As of now and the time being, I have configured this action steps already, and I just explained you. In the coming sessions I'm going to configure this workflow actions based on the requirement on the go, so that we will have more idea and the more logic building as well. So this is about stateless logic app. Hope you guys liked. In the upcoming sessions I'm going to share more content on .NET, Azure, .NET Core, and also I try to cover React as well. That's it for now. Signing off. Thank you so much. Goodbye.